Hello there, and welcome to another Genshin discussion. Today, I want to talk about Furina's story quest as well as her in general, as the Archon quest and story quest gave us a lot of reveals and informations about her. I also have a video going over the Archon quest, if you're interested in that, but with both this and that video, I will be going over spoilers. If you don't want to get spoiled, please do leave now. Other than that, if you do end up enjoying my content, why not like, comment, or subscribe? With that out of the way, let's get straight into it. As revealed at the end of Masquerade of the Guilty, Furina is not the true Hydro Archon. She has been playing the role of the Hydro Archon for the past 500 or so years, while False Lore, the real Hydro Archon, was inside the Orchis slowly accumulating power. But why do they look the same, and how did Furina live for so long? Well, initially, Falsalor was an Oceanid that was turned into a human by Egeria back when she was still alive. After which, Falsalor was chosen to become the successor of the Hydro Archon and inherit the puzzle that is saving the people of Fontaine from the prophecy. The only way she found to do so was by tricking the Heavenly Principles and Celestia by splitting herself in two, with the end goal of destroying the Hydro Divine Throne. This left Falsalor in two pieces, one which kept the name and was her divinity, that was the one inside the Orchis messing power, and the second part which was fully human. Said human was then cursed with immortality by Falsalor and was asked to play the part of the Archon until they could save the Fontaine. This second part was Furina. Even though Furina was immortal, she had to play a role that she didn't want. Initially, she tried to be genuine with her people, the people worshipping her, but in the end she had to keep a facade of selfishness and brattiness in order to fool the whole Fontaine and the principles themselves. But this left her in a very lonely and depressed state. Because of her mission, she couldn't really confide into anyone, as any slip-up would lead to Celestia finding out about the plan and everything falling and failing. And Furina played this role to perfection, up until the very end. Wanting to make connections with the people around her, but she couldn't. They all saw her as a god, an idol. And then, at the end, even the person she trusted most, Neuvillette, was against her and tried to out her. Of course, Neuvillette and the Traveler didn't know about the truth, but it still broke her heart. The way she was left in the chair after the verdict was depressing. All alone. But there is a bright side to this all. Furina is no longer cursed and can now try to lead a normal life. Just living and working like a normal person. Only if she was used to this kind of life and if people weren't still thinking of her as either a celebrity or someone to be attacked for her shortcomings as the Archon. The story quest itself is really sweet and depressing at the same time. It deals with a theater troupe that wants to put up one last show before they disband. The show being held in the memory of their troupe leader who tragically died because of the serial disappearances of young women case. But tragedy arises within the troupe, but with the help of the Traveler and Furina, who decided that she would at least help behind the scenes, the play goes on smoothly until the final act. That's where the lead actress has a flare-up with her condition and cannot act anymore. Furina, even though she vowed to never play a role again, decides to go against her better judgment and acts this lead role instead. And because the play's story is very similar to what she went through, she managed to connect with it. This allows her to put on a dazzling performance, and at the end she receives her vision. After the whole play part, Furina does end up saying that she might return to the stage sometimes, but not in roles that others want her to play. She will play the roles she wants to. She will not put on a mask anymore. This was an amazing story quest, and I feel like you could even call it one of the best in the game until now. The fact that we continue to dive into the way Furina felt during and even after the Archon role was beautiful. The feelings of loneliness and depression of that caliber. Remember when Zhongli said that erosion can destroy even the toughest of stones? If he can be affected by erosion, especially while being a true Archon, a god, and so old, over 6,000 years or so, could you imagine what that could do to a mere human over the course of 500 years? We all think that we want immortality, but in the end, that's just another type of curse. Either way, the story quest ended on a positive note, and I think I should end this part of the discussion on one too. I'm really excited to see more of Furina. Going from being this selfish, bratty child to being the most beloved character from the story is quite the leap. But just like with the little radish Nahida, we all have to protect the water lady Furina. So with wholesomeness out of the way, let's talk theories and speculation. A either lied or didn't know the truth back during the Inazuma days. We talked to Tei about the lack of electrovisions being given away. We all thought that the Archons are the ones to give them away personally, but A refuted that and said that she didn't have anything to do with it. And I think she was indeed telling the truth. Recently, in her story quest, Miss Furina actually got a vision. But, there's a big but. The Divine Throne of the Hydro Archon and the Hydro Archon themselves are no longer a thing. So what gives? Well, it seems that these visions are not given by the Archons themselves, but their own goals and ambitions actually have something to do with the vision, with giving out visions. Yeah, remember in Inazuma, when we were told that visions represent someone's ambition? Well, because A didn't think mortals deserved visions anymore, and it was their ambition to make it so, and also put Inazuma in a state of eternity, that made it in such a way that the electrovisions weren't being given out anymore. Because A's own ambition was to not give them out. Now, let's go back to how Furina got a vision. Well, it could have been Neuvillette. Even if he didn't send it to her specifically, he at least provided the means through which Celestia could send one. While the Hydro Divine Throne is no longer a thing, the power that it was using is still there in Teyvat within Neuvillette. This way, I wouldn't be surprised if visions could be given out even with Celestia being gone. I was thinking earlier today, if Celestia will be destroyed / ran out of Teyvat somehow by the end of the story, what would happen to all of the people with visions? Would those visions not work anymore? Well, I think the answer to that question is that they will continue to work for as long as the sovereign dragon powers are within Teyvat. There are still beings who can control them as naturally, like some of the gods we've met, but the visions are most likely linked to the sovereign elemental powers. The dragon sovereigns were after all the original rulers of Teyvat and natural rulers of their respective element. All that Celestia did was just take that power and use it to create the Gnosis, and maybe even continue to this day to use it to create visions. Though this does bring another question. Why has Celestia been so inactive in Teyvat if they are still actively giving out visions? Ever since Khaenri'ah, I don't think we have really heard of any involvement from Celestia or the Sustainer, other than stopping the siblings from escaping. This is really weird, especially with the madness that was the sages of Sumeru creating an artificial god, and also all the things that the Tsaritsa has been doing by collecting the Gnosis. The only two ways I could see this work is that either Celestia is hibernating, or dead, or / destroyed, or Celestia knows about the fate of the world and that it will all be solved. For example, they knew that the supposed god that was created by the sages would be destroyed. But did they know how? Do they know about the Traveler? Or is the Traveler their blind spot per se? Maybe Celestia knows that the problem with the Tsaritsa and Snezhnaya will be solved, but what does that truly mean in the end? Would that mean that Snezhnaya and all the other civilizations currently on Teyvat will not actually go to war with Celestia? And it will only be the Traveler, who is technically not part of the fate of Teyvat, be the one to fight Celestia and alone go at war with it? The theory of, you know, Celestia knowing about the fate of the world, the second theory I came with, could work really well, especially that it seems that Celestia only intervenes when civilizations get close to the forbidden knowledge from beyond. Points of no return, because while Celestia would know about the fate of Teyvat, they wouldn't be able to really have knowledge of what would happen if Teyvat would gain knowledge from beyond. For example, Khaenri'ah almost destroyed the entirety of Teyvat. Inazuma and Lyra specifically were attacked straight by abyssal creatures from the abyss. Man, that was a lot. So, Furina's story quest is amazing and she deserves all our love. Celestia is either all-knowing through fate or is asleep. And visions might as well be made using the sovereign powers. I think this is what I went over in this video. A lot of speculation, especially on Celestia stuff and visions, but truth be told, speculation is really fun. Yeah, the theories might be disproven, but I don't really care. Either way, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed and I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.